How's it going, everybody? It's Anonymous Disco here, and today I'm going to be talking about why I love Like a Dragon Ishin, the newest in the Yakuza franchise. Um, I just figured, I've never really talked about the Yakuza games all too much on this channel. My profile pic is Goro Majima, for God's sake. So it's about darn time I did a review, or this isn't really a review. It's more just kind of why I love Like a Dragon Ishin, and kind of in turn why I really love the series. So I'm gonna get into it now. I'm not gonna do any major spoilers. Not going to tell you how the game ends or anything, but I will be talking about certain side quests and the opening of the game and stuff. So if you don't want to know anything, then turn this video off now. All right, that was your warning. But without further ado, here we go. So to set the mood a little bit, essentially, instead of playing in modern day Japan, you're in old timey Japan. And I took a note here, but it's essentially the late Edo period, or the Bakumatsu era, but it's like 1860 Japan. And you're still Kazuma Kiryu, but instead, well, you are, but you aren't. But essentially, you play as a guy named Sakamoto Ryoma, who's a real historical figure, actually, by the way. But that's the idea here. You'll recognize all your favorite Yakuza characters like Haruka and Goro and Daigo, and they're all here. But now they're actually playing real historical figures in this somewhat kind of fictionalized, historical, dramatized version of this thing that really happened at that time in Japan. But where our story kind of starts off is Sakamoto Ryoma returns to his hometown of Tosa, and I'm going to be saying a lot of Japanese words throughout this, by the way, too. So excuse me because my pronunciation is terrible. But he returns to Tosa, and he meets up with his brother and his father, and they got something going on called the Tosa Loyalist Party. But it's essentially the idea is that they're gonna overthrow the shogun, and they don't like the government, and it's a revolution. So they kind of they get you in on that, and they go to this meeting, and when they're kind of meeting, their father is assassinated. Sakamoto's father is assassinated. So he takes the blame for it. He kind of gets framed for the murder a little bit, and he has to leave the country, or leave the region, and go to another region, Kyo. And he adopts a alias, and he's pretty much just searching for the assassin that killed his dad. And the only thing he knows is this kind of specific sword style that the assassin used. So he's like, well, everyone who uses this sword style belongs to this thing called the Shisengumi. So I'm gonna kind of infiltrate them, and I can find the assassin who killed my dad. It's almost kind of gave me a bit of a Gangs New York vibe, even with the time period too. It was almost like Gangs New York Japanese. But that's about like the first hour or so of the storyline, and I won't say anymore. But that's what kind of gets the ball rolling into an epic adventure. But that's what I will say about the storyline. The storyline here is great, really, really good. Like all the other Yakuza games, I've never played a Yakuza game where I thought the story was lacking. Now, I will say that they are a specific type of storytelling a little bit. Like they're almost, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, they're almost like a soap opera or something, a Yakuza story. It's a lot of like twists and turns, and he was this guy all along, and he was betraying you, but that was a double cross, and it's a triple cross and stuff. Like, it's a very, very dramatic story. But just done in the best way possible. So you do have to kind of find that way of storytelling a little bit endearing, which I do, and that is also the case for like a Dragon Ishin. But otherwise, you're pretty much just doing your Yakuza thing, man. Like you've got a tight little open world to explore, Kyo, and that's just another point of Yakuza games is that I love their open world. They're a great example of why bigger isn't better. You know, you can have these tiny open worlds, and there's just so much going on. You can detail them so much better, and they just feel as big and as alive as all these other, huge, massive open worlds. And Yakuza is a great example of that. But yeah, essentially you're just going around, you're chipping away at the story missions and stuff. You're doing side quests, you're playing mini games, you're collecting junk and crafting stuff, and it's a Yakuza game. Talk about the mini games a little bit, actually. You got your usual suspects like Shoji and Mahjong, karaoke, which I actually put in Bakumatai, like an old sounding version of it, which I thought was hilarious. But one of the big standouts, one of the new ones, or at least I had never seen it before, was the chicken racing. This one's hilarious. It's essentially the closest to, like, and I think it's Kiwami. Pretty sure it's the first Kiwami that they put the pocket circuit uh like side arc in. It's the closest version to that. It's not quite as epic as that one is, but it's the closest, and it's just really funny. It's a way of gambling. You bet on chickens and you race them, and it's hilarious, and it's really really cool. But yeah, all the side games, all the mini games are all really fun here. Now I think like everybody, comes to a Yakuza game for a different thing. Some people come for the storyline, some people come for the combat, some people come for the mini games, and for me, it's always the side quests are my favorite. I love it all. Like I love the whole package, but the side quests are my favorite, and this one has some really excellent side quests, and there's a lot of them too. Like I grinded this game. I think when I just finished the last mission, I was just shy of like 70 hours, and I don't even think I haven't even beat all the sub stories and everything, which is wild because I did so many of them. But there's some really funny ones. There's some funny ones where like with pets. Um, there's a really good one where it's this girl, and she keeps asking you for all these like phallic vegetables, and it seems like she's just like pleasuring herself, like shoving them up her pussy, and she's like, give me an eggplant, give me a daikon, and all this stuff. And then in the end, she's, lo and behold, she's only like making a stew. But yeah, that's what I love about I love how silly the side quests are, and there are some really silly ones. There's some really touching ones too. Yeah, it just I love Yakuza's writing quality, very very good writing quality. But that actually reminds me of another thing: is this game's huge, but there's so much going on. But there's also how they involve Haruka in the story. She's like this little girl or whatever. She's always a little girl, but her parents disappear, die, or whatever, and she has this house that she has to pay off. So you essentially come and live with her. It's weird, I know, right? But you go and live with her, and it becomes this kind of like slice of life. I think they even call it like another life. But you like go and you plant vegetables, and you do little missions. There's actually a cooking mini game, which is awesome, and you're paying off the rent. So, and then that leads to a whole other lieu of side missions too. So there's a lot of shit to do in this game. So the last thing I would want to touch on just briefly is just the combat of this game, because it is a little different from the other ones. It is still like the Yakuza beat 'em up signature style, but it's more like you got a sword and a gun now. So think of it more like Zero. Like each character in Zero has the kind of three fighting stances. It's like that, but now your three fighting stances, four actually. You have the brawler, which I hardly ever used, which is just your fist. You have the Wild Dancer, which is the one I use the most, which is using the gun and the sword at the same time. You have just your sword, so you have like just kind of classic samurai with the katana, and then you have a gunman, which is just the gun. Um, so you can. There's a lot of variety, a lot to switch it up. You can also get like special items too, so you can like get like spears and cannons. You can just actually get a literal cannon and use that too. So there's a lot of fun to be had in the combat. It is, uh, you're still doing heat actions and just beating up dudes on the street and everything, but now you're just doing it with a katana essentially. So similar but different. It's refreshing, but the combat's a lot of fun and a lot of goof. You can be a little goofball. So yeah, that's kind of a list of stuff I love about Like a Dragon Ishin and the Yakuza series. I want to sit down and do a big review of the entire series one day. I actually haven't beaten the entire series yet either, so I got to do that first, and got some other new games coming out soon. But getting sidetracked. Thank you for watching this video. There's so much to be said about Like a Dragon Ishin. I'm gonna go back and watch this video later on and be like, oh, I forgot to talk about this, that, and the other thing. Like, it's a huge game, so you get a lot of bang for your buck. I think it's even on sale right now on Xbox. So if this one interests you, play it. If you never played a Yakuza game, it'd be an interesting one as your first Yakuza game. It's self-contained. I don't know. I don't know if it's the best first Yakuza game or not, but it's a hell of a good game, and I would recommend trying it for sure. Or if you played it, what did you think of it? Did you think it was a good, a good addition to the franchise, or did you think it was a pile of snot? Let me know in the comments below. But anyways, thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe on the video, and we'll talk at you later, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Peace out.